Hello, and welcome to Looking for Reality, the channel that uses, analyzes, and interprets data in order to better understand reality. I'm John Toffelmeyer, and in today's video, I'm going to look at cryptocurrency, and in particular, this article that appeared in Bloomberg Opinion recently, entitled, "Here's to Crypto Going the Way of Esperanto," by David Fickling, who has written about cryptocurrency. This article, I have a link to this article as it appeared in the Washington Post. It also appeared in several other publications. It was originally in Bloomberg Opinion, but it also appeared in the Washington Post, and the link to that is below. And you can note here, looking at the subheading, now that its much trumpeted potential in the financial universe has been debunked, and I think this is a reference to the FTX debacle, the collapse of the centralized cryptocurrency trading platform recently. And so what I'm going to do is use data that appears in this article in order to suggest the opposite. And let's turn to that data. Here's the chart from this article, and it shows the population of a number of countries that regularly make crypto transactions. And this data comes from a survey by Morning Consult of people in these countries. It surveyed people in these countries. It also made use of World Bank data, and Bloomberg Opinion used this data in order to make these calculations. This is based on people who have made at least one crypto transaction in the past month. And it's done by country. And on the left side, we have the population, the adult population in each country that uses crypto on a regular basis. And on the right side is the share of the adult population in that country. The important information for each country is on the right side, the share of the adult population. So let's take a look at this, and let's run our eye up and down. And if we go up and down this chart, the thing that we will notice is that we can see there are two groups of countries. It very easily separates into two groups of countries. One group are countries that have at least 28% or more of the adult population that regularly use crypto as defined for the study. And the second group are countries that use 19% or less of its adult population. So there's a big gap that really separates out these countries. So let's take a look and see which countries are more intense, where its citizens, its people are more intense users of crypto. And we go up and down. The countries with at least 28% of the adult population that use crypto regularly include India, Nigeria, Indonesia, Pakistan, Turkey, Russia, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, South Africa, and Argentina. Now, let's go over the countries that have 19% or less. They're China, the US, Brazil, Mexico, South Korea, Germany, Japan, Spain, Italy, the UK, France, Poland, and Canada. Now, I think you can generally see that those are two fairly different groups of countries. The former group, the more intense users, where the population is the more intense users of cryptocurrency, are what you would call emerging economies. And the group that tend to have a lower percentage use by the adult population of cryptocurrency are, with several exceptions, more advanced countries. The exceptions are China and Mexico, but otherwise, I think all of the rest of those countries on that list, and you can go up and down, I would say that those are fairly advanced countries. Now, what can we say that characterizes these countries that are emerging countries that are shown on this list here? Well, they have certain characteristics which include one or more of the following: political instability, economic instability that can include large currency fluctuation, a high inflation rate, and it can include a lack of trust. There's a cultural difference. It can include a lack of trust, a level of corruption in the government, corruption in dealing business, difficulties in doing business that create a lower level of trust. And so these are characteristics that are often found in all of those countries that are on the list with a higher use. As we say, several of the countries that have a lower use may qualify for that, but the ones that are here on the higher use, definitely they have one or more of those characteristics. So let's look at a comment that was made in this article, and it says, it's impossible to know the motivation for this activity. It says, for all the attention garnered by testosterone and Adderall-fueled crypto traders and broke billionaires trying to escape the long arm of justice, the vast majority of players in crypto are likely to be doing it for more mundane reasons. And I would beg to differ on that. I would say that the people that in these developing countries, in these emerging countries, are in fact business people, probably many of them small. Because when you have countries, Nigeria, 56% of the population using crypto, Turkey, 54%, Pakistan, 37%, Thailand, 44%. Those are significant percentages of the population. Those are very likely to be ordinary. Many of those are very likely to be ordinary people. If ordinary people are using it, they're not using it to dabble. They're using it in order to gain trust in transactions or to protect their money. Now let's look at the first part, to gain trust in transactions. Through the use of blockchain, a transaction can be recorded, it can be accurately recorded to the agreement of both parties, and so there's a clear transfer of funds and a clear understanding of the terms at which the money is being transferred. That can be very clear. That can increase the level of trust in a country that otherwise, through its institutions or its culture or its general level of economic and political insecurity, may make doing such transactions more difficult. And the other is for, again, the economic insecurity. People concerned about preserving their capital. Now you may say, but crypto has had a huge fluctuation over time. And yes, it's true, and particularly in the last 2 years, we've seen a huge run up and a huge drop in the price of cryptocurrency. But let's take a longer perspective, and let me show you this chart here, where I'm making a comparison of Bitcoin between its value in December 2022 versus the average value on a monthly basis over the period from January of 2018 to December of 2022. So let's say you're a small business person and you're putting aside some money every month because you want to make sure that you have some safety. And so you're putting it, you may buy gold, you may buy dollars. It's another way to potentially protect your money. And let's say you've been doing it that way. Well, you would have, the average cost at which you would have accumulated Bitcoin over those 5 years would have been, and we can see it on the right here, $20,293. That would have been the average price that would have accumulated the currency if you bought the same amount every month on a monthly basis over 5 years. And what it was the value of Bitcoin on December the 1st, 2022? $17,168, about 15% lower. Now you may think, well, doesn't that show you that crypto's not a good investment? But here's the important thing to understand. If you're in these countries, and I'll tell you, I'm in one of those countries right now. I'm in Vietnam. I'm recording this in Vietnam. And I can tell you that small businesses are probably using it in this way as a potential store value to put money aside. And so they would look and say, well, they've lost 15%. It's 15% lower. They could have had their money in dollars. It could have the same. It could have been in gold and had a similar fluctuation over time. But the most important thing to remember is if you're in these countries, you want capital appreciation. Of course, everybody does. But unlike in advanced economies where capital appreciation is is something that people are more focused on, in these countries, capital preservation is the first thing that you're worried about. You are most worried about preserving your capital. From there, if you can preserve your capital, then you can think of expanding your capital. But the most important thing, the people that lose sleep over in countries like this, is not expanding their capital, but making sure that it's preserved. The most important point. And so my point here is that when you add up these numbers, and let's go back to this chart again, you add up these numbers on the left side, in those countries that have at least 28% of their adult population using crypto on a regular basis, that adds up to about 700 million people worldwide. That's more than 10% just in those countries. More than 10% of the global population every month that are making at least one crypto transaction. That's a lot of people. And that tells me that in fact crypto has become something that's become ordinary. It's being ordinary in these emerging economies. The use of crypto is something that is fairly standard use among a broad swath of the adult population. That's not a fad. That's not some eccentric pursuit by people that are trading off hours or as a hobby. These are, when that many people are using it, they're doing it for something serious. They're making a serious use of this as an important part of their economic life. And given that, I think that there are, if you have 700 million people, and certainly more if you add up the rest of the world in emerging economies, you probably have 1 billion people around the world at least that regularly use crypto. If you have that many people that are around the world in emerging economies that are regularly using crypto, that tells me that crypto has a future. It is, and it's being used now. It's going to continue to be, and that very likely these are people using it as a store of value in the way that gold, they would look at gold as a store of value, maybe holding dollars in some ways as a store of value, as another store of value that reduces their risk. And so my conclusion is that cryptocurrency is not going the way of Esperanto, but I think it's very, very much a part of the global economy going forward. So with that, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing and consider sharing this video. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. Bye.